Well, Happy New Year. Welcome to the Slab Podcast, Episode 1. Today we're recapping Collectibles 2022, where the grades matter and there are no rules. Again, my name is Josh, Dagreenshiz Collectibles. I am looking forward to doing this with you in the coming future, but here's also the other host, Oak. How are you doing, man?
What's up, Josh? Professor Oak, yep. I'm here. I'm excited for us to get this conversation going. 2023 is off with a bang. We are ready to go. I know we are going to kick off the first episode of Slabbed podcast, talking about graded cards and other graded items in the market. We're going to kick it off talking about last year. We're going to go past tense. We're going to look back and give a little bit of a summary. It's going to be tricky, talking about a whole year in an hour or so. But yeah, I'm excited for us just to touch on some of the points. I know we've made a few points to touch on some topics, so it's going to be exciting. Let's jump into a little bit of a personal recap. So, Josh, what's some of your highlights? What do you think was some of your favorite parts of 2022?
Well, before 2022, we didn't have Professor Oak Discord. We didn't have Professor Oak YouTube. So without 2022, I guess we wouldn't be sitting here right here, would we? It's pretty.
I didn't think about that. I'll cheers to that. Thank you.
Cheers to that, man. Cheers. No, but yeah, besides that, I don't know, man. There's so much awesome stuff that happened last year inside of the hobby, and we are going to get into some of it, but some of my highlights are just some of the grading turnaround times coming down. That is huge for me and kind of what I'm doing here. The video game prices coming down has been awesome for me just for the buying purposes, just to name a few. What about yourself?
Yeah, I didn't realize until literally the past week or so that graded games had come down so far. I didn't realize it hit such a big dip, but yeah, for me, the highlight, I'm just coming up to a year. I'm very close to a year since my first video, and grateful, excited, just beyond anything I thought the year was going to be. Personally, 2022, I was hoping to build a YouTube channel to meet with people that were like me, that were adults in the hobby, that wanted to take it serious, make money, make collections, play with some big boy toys. And my goal was to hit 100 subscribers and create a community of people that I can interact with and be a part of. And I hit that goal. So I'm really excited that there's so many cool people just like yourself, huge, component of that community for me. But there's a lot of others too that you're very well in tune with. A lot of cool people that we've got that I consider friends. So that's been a pretty exciting part of the year for me. In terms of slabs, cards, games, comics, Funkos, all the rest of it. For me, what's been really exciting is the hyper-tune engagement of the companies making it. So whether that's Pokemon or Funko or whoever, even down to Swami's Marvel stuff, there's just a lot of companies really putting effort into entertaining us. So that's a really cool part of 2022 for me, which I'm sure you've experienced that. That's been really exciting. But also companies really taking it serious on the secondary market stuff. So we have people like eBay and PWCC, Z&G, Old School Dan. All these people that are like taking the secondary market very seriously after those products are graded or slabbed or whatever, authenticated. That's been exciting. It feels like we kicked up a notch in a serious way, that in 2021 the hobby felt hype, excitement, emotion. It felt a little crazy. Last year felt a little more like, okay, what do we do with this craziness? What do we do with this excitement and this hype? That's been energizing for me, knowing that we can do stuff with it. There's things there to like entertain us, and there's things there that we can make money or spend money. it's okay to spend money. You don't have to make money in the hobby. So yeah, that's some of the highlights for me, which I think have been really cool. Yeah.
Definitely. No, it's awesome. And I was just thinking while you're talking, kind of like all the competition that was developed in between all like these different auction houses, like the competition between them, the grading companies is just doing more and more better things for all of us. And it's ever developing. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, next levels of it too. With building onto that, PSA Collected Universe buying Golden. I mean, that's a perfect example of the hobby evolving, them understanding there's a bigger picture, there's more to it, there's more needs for the consumer, there's more needs for the sellers and flippers, all the people that are in the hobby in that marketplace. So there's a little bit for everyone, right? Like every aspect of it, there's some area you can get into and spend money or make money right now, I feel like.
Yeah. And I just got an email actually, so this will be something in 2023, but the new Golden Marketplace is coming out soon. Like PSA sent an email. So they're like, hey, you got all these cards, you should send them to Golden Marketplace. I'm like, I don't even know what the hell that looks like. Like, why what am I doing? Like, why would I do that? So
yeah, I got that on the return. I just got back the other day. I guess they want us to go into PSA Vault and then use that as the safe house for the auction.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yep. It's crazy.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll be very interested in pricing if it's like a PWCC type pricing, eBay type pricing, like the kind of people, older, newer people in it, like what their target audience is. I think is going to be really interesting, and the kind of prices and their fees. Is it going to be buyer fees or seller fees or both? Or it's going to be really interesting. Yeah, they do let you. I will tell you, it did say on the email I got you can vote for free if you grade in. If you're not just sending slabs to them, if you grade straight after grading, if they just go straight to the vote, they're voted for free. I don't know if that's now or long term, or if there's if the fee of withdrawing is maybe higher or lower than the direct ship back. Maybe that's a play. Maybe it's the same price. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't want to play around. I wanted to get my slabs. So maybe that's the next test on the next submission.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how it develops though, for sure. So talking about real quick some more highlights. Like, what about any lowlights for you last year, or like?
That's a tricky one.
It definitely is.
Lowlights.
Lowlights for 2022 collectibles.
I think a tricky part that there's been a lot of negativity about has been like people doing stuff that doesn't make sense, but I think is okay. So like people spending money on like crazy money on like signatures or slabs or investing a lot of time into things or trying to collect binder sets with reverse rares, just like things that like people that are in it to make money can't understand. There's been a lot of negative reaction to those kind of things, even if those people are happy doing it. Like people just assume that they're unhappy because they've lost money.
Yep.
I think it's okay to spend money. Like this is a hobby where for the most part you do have an asset at the end. I can tell you when I go fishing, I don't get much return back on the fish or the shrimp that I'm using for bait or playing with. I don't get much return back when I go out for a nice meal or have a few drinks or a bar or whatever it is. Like this is a hobby where I got a bunch of stuff on these shelves behind me I could sell tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like there is some aspect of it's okay to spend some money. Like you do have some asset. And I think there's been some negativity towards a little bit of like toxic negativity almost. I hate that word toxic, but it has a little disappointing some comments and things that I've heard. So yeah, bit of a bummer low life for me, that stuff. But what about you? Anything that stands out?
Just the number of scams and stuff going on in 2022 is like peaked.
Good one.
As far as I've seen, like we're about like in one of our notes we had put down like the Logan Paul box is about at its 1 year anniversary now of when he opened up the GI Joe packs, which is crazy. That was a year ago. And just from there, like all the different the signature scams where people are erasing partials of the signature, and the booster boxes, the packs. My friend just posted a video of a booster box he purchased that was fake. Like it just doesn't end. So it's not going to get better. And it's people just need to get more smarter and intelligent. And there's videos out there to educate yourselves on. Just know what you're getting into, because they're out there. Pokemon's mainstream big time with all the money making headlines, and it's just going to get worse. So hunker down.
Yeah, actually, a little bit of a teaser with that. I got mini scammed, a little tiny one, and that's going to be on my video that's coming out Friday, so you'll see it then. But yeah, a small little scam that I got.
It's cliffhangers all day here, huh?
Caught on. Yeah, you'll see it Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock, guys. Yeah. It's a tricky one. So I feel you firsthand. Yeah, right there. I think everyone has some kind of story where they've had, even if it's as small as just a bad deal on eBay. Like there are nefarious people in every aspect of this hobby right now. Every aspect. Yeah. So yeah, that's a really good one for sure.
Yeah, it's wild.
With that, one of the things I did want to touch on is I think it's pretty cool that came out of 2022 is eBay taking trading cards a lot more seriously, which I kind of touched on earlier, with CGC authenticating the slabs and PSA authenticating raw cards. Very interested to see how that authenticity guarantee develops, how it changes, how it grows, what is going to happen there. I think it's a good thing. I think as long as they listen and will communicate about it if there is something a little off whack, because I have seen some examples where, that's been a problem. I think 99% of the time it's been pretty good, other than just the slowing down of the deal. What's your thoughts on that, on the authentication part?
Yeah, I've personally have nothing but great experiences. So pretty much most of the cards I'm selling on my thing are getting slapped by the authenticity guarantee, and I'm not too disappointed. It's a sure point that I'm shipping to. When it gets delivered to me in the same authenticity, it's packaged extremely well. So I'm a huge fan of it. Huge fan. Have you had much experiences buying and selling?
I haven't, and that's why I'm a little dubious, because I've done a lot of mine's been more manual, like one-on-one stuff. But
yeah,
I am curious about it. I also think it's really interesting that they broke it between each grading company.
Yeah. PSA, you send a PSA, CGC's a CGC. Yeah. Weird. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know what the next step is from that. If it's a test, like, are they gonna hire their own people? Are they gonna subcontract people in? Are they gonna continue? This is your deal. You specialize in that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, it's awesome. It'll weed out the people like the guy Zhao that just came out and just to drop some bombs. Like, he's not selling on eBay because his would have went through authenticity guarantee and he would have got slapped. So he was avoiding that at all costs because he was straight scamming people with fake slabs. So it's there to help the people, help the sellers, help the buyers. If it takes an extra 5 business days, who gives a crap? I can wait. So it's awesome. Huge move. Huge.
Okay, so does that become the standard? The PWCC now have to do that? The golden, the heritage, the whatnot?
Like,
is that going to be expected now that eBay has set a precedent for it? Of this is definitely legit. This is what you're buying. This is what you're getting. No messing around.
Yeah, I think at a point PWCC kind of is, because now they're not selling sealed anymore. They're kind of authenticating boxes. But as far as like they kind
independently, first party, not third party, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So they're not authenticating through CGC or PSA, but they have the professionals, I think, on staff that are good enough to smell out some fakes, I'd hope. So I don't know, but they're definitely not authenticating anything. But I think there's some type of guarantee, I would assume. If I got my slab stick shipped to me and it was fake, I'm sure they'd cover if I had video proof or whatever.
Yeah, I mean they would have pretty good pictures too. I mean their pictures are crazy high def, so they should have a more experienced person review it. I'm sure if you kicked up a fuss, they seem pretty responsive and pretty like modern on a lot of stuff. Like they're not as old school as eBay. They don't outsource people from like Asia to handle calls and messages and stuff. Like they have people in America like jumping on stuff like today, right now, like handle that situation. Everything I've dealt with anyway, I've had pretty good experience with them.
Yeah, exactly. What else came from eBay? Was it I know the eBay Live has been at least teased and shown a few times where they're going to start competing with Whatnot, but they've only had like sponsored streams to date. Have you got a chance to check any of that out or anything else stand out to you from eBay?
I watched a replay of it. I had like a reminder thing set for that first one where they were playing around with it, where they announced it. I watched a little bit of the replay, but
yeah,
I think we still need a bit more development on the vault before that part. I think they kind of go hand in hand a little bit with that kind of stuff, just like with PWCC, and obviously PSA is going to be doing some of that stuff too. But excuse me, yeah, I think we need a little more of a full package, a more wholesome, like full picture to be able to like really develop it and go like all the way with it. So
yeah,
we'll see. It seems exciting. If anyone's got the money and the time to throw into it, I think eBay probably has. They got a bunch of developers that are willing to build software at a click of a button. So that's pretty exciting. The thing that I do like with eBay is their selling platform. You have so much control yourself over a lot of it. You know, whether it's, I know with the Vault side of stuff, you can't choose the title, but you can still change a lot of stuff, like when you're going to sell it, how, like, there's just like so much click of a button and just do it your tailored way, how you want it, how you like it. Don't have that with PWCC. You don't have that with Z&G. You don't have that with Naked Dan. Like, you know, these consigners, their way or the highway. So that is a real bonus for eBay that I don't know if they realize how valuable that is for a lot of sellers and for a lot of buyers when you can filter down those criteria, saved sellers, that kind of stuff. There's just a lot of bonuses there. eBay's a big one. They're not messing around. They're taking this serious and they're going to be in it for a long time. So certainly going to be a pretty cool player this year. 2023 is going to be a big year for eBay.
Yeah, I'm bullish on them. They're a hell of a company, that's for damn sure. Crazy.
Get your phone out, click of a button. It's right there. Saved search. I don't even need to do the search. It's right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
It's brilliant. Another thing I did have noted here was we were talking about, PWCC a little bit there. The being able to now just send a raw card out. You don't even need to sell slabs, but you can sell slabs. I mean, you're sending raw cards and selling them as slabs because they're just slabbing them, whether it's, CGC, PSA, Beckett, whoever, like all over the place. It seems to be happening right now. I'm curious on, is eBay going to start doing that? I mean, they're already partnered with PSA. They're already partnered with CGC. There's different things going on. Is it going to develop to games, Funkos, all the other stuff, comics? We'll see. But that was pretty exciting to see that there's just a lot more options. Just like I said at the beginning, one of my highlights, companies are taking it really serious. They're really taking it serious and realizing, like, hey, we got money. Like, we want to have fun. We want to look at these things and grab these things and collect these things and talk about them. Give us some options. Give us some flexibility with what we can do. New products and services, and they're doing it. They're investing time and effort into it, and that's cool to me. I love that. It's not the same thing every day.
Yeah, one of the weird things I saw recently looking at some of the PWCC auctions was they're selling raw cards too. Like they actually have like they're certifying it through PWCC that it's a real card, and it's like in a weird top
Yeah.
holder or card saver 1 or something, but it's pictured raw. And
What did they call
pretty,
that? It was like MB or something. I forget what it was.
I don't remember, but it's weird to say the least. Seeing that thing come out, and usually they're $5 starting bids, and they're just getting hammered. Most of them, they're like, I've seen some junk raw cards. People just send their whole collections. It's crazy.
Yeah, just throw in spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks, I guess. Yep. That could be. I do like the logic behind that. That could be something pretty cool. I just think it maybe removes any kind of expertise from the person submitting. It's a little too dumbed down. It feels like a little bit too much. Maybe if there was like a cap of like the card needs to be worth this, or it needs to be this kind of card, or this rarity, or if there's some kind of criteria, so people weren't literally sending like purple energies from Lost Origin or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
needs to develop a little further, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome though. It's going to be a hell of a 2022 for some of like PWCC and Golden and eBay. It's going to be a riot to see these people just bucking heads against each other. On that, the one of the biggest things, obviously, in 2022 that kind of just has an impact across everything was the turnaround times and where they were, where they've come from. Obviously, CGC at one point, the trading card portion of CGC was down to like just days, and literally like the standard turnaround time for bulk, and people were turning it in a week, 2 weeks, which is absolutely insane. PSA has changed so much. Did that change? Can you talk a little bit about it and kind of maybe how that maybe affected your plays that you made last year, like when you submitted and stuff like that?
Yeah. Big cards, big risk, big reward. That's probably what I would probably sum up if I was going to do a submission in 2022. No cheap stuff. It was all sat in a package, all sat in a box, all sat in card savers for the entire year. It was all stuff where I thought, if I'm going to grade it, I'm going to pay the big grading fee, and I'm going to have to sell it high, and it's going to have to grade high to be able to sell it high. And it pretty much all did. I made very limited plays. I think I only did maybe half a dozen submissions the whole year. It's pretty low submission year compared to a lot of others. But half a dozen of those submissions, and the cards within that, I think I got 1-9. They were all 10s. I got real lucky. Very selective, precise, clean and clear with that stuff, and made profit on them. But not a year for collecting by grading.
Yeah.
Right now, collecting by grading for sure. Like I've just got 133 cards back, this a few days ago. Now's the time to grab my Pikachus cheaper than I can on the market, not in 2022. So I actually bought a lot of slabs on eBay. I bought slabs on PWCC from people. DNA, I picked up some nice slabs from them, just random people and things. And yeah, that was the year for me, and that side of stuff definitely geared more towards purchasing, selling, trying to figure out a lot of learning last year in terms of grading, being more strict, watching other people's plays, fails, successes. I consumed a heck of a lot of Pokemon content on YouTube. I mean, I've probably watched your face without you knowing for 100 hours. Like, no joke. Like,
That's it? No,
so many, I don't even know. I'm seriously, like, I've spent a ridiculous amount of time while I'm doing dishes, doing laundry, cutting my grass. I'm in bed at night, just listening, like, wife trying to sleep or whatever, and I'm
watching Jurassic Park with one AirPod in, listening to a live stream.
Bingo. Seriously, like just every moment I had free. I'm very much a work hard, play hard guy. When I'm at work, I am working. I push myself so hard at work. I'm very, very dedicated, intense. I'm in it. Nothing else in the world matters when I'm at work. But outside of work, it's playtime. Like, let's go. I have a lot of hobbies, way more than just Pokemon and cards and collectibles. I have a lot of different things going on. I have a family. Just welcome to my second daughter at Christmas. You know, you're aware of that, but just generally a lot of things happening and going on. And yeah, big year, big year for sure. So I'm excited for this year to focus on my work again, but outside of work, have a little bit more of a, again, I've learned a lot. I have a more structured approach, a more technical, precise, analytical approach to things. Way less irrational, way less emotional about purchases and things. I didn't even buy a pack of Lost Origin or Silver Tempest. The first modern sets I haven't jumped at in 2 years. I mean, I've just been like very clinical about what I've been doing, trimming down fat, trying to save money to do things that make sense. If it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. If it doesn't save money, it doesn't make sense. That's kind of what I'm living by right now. So yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I graded not a whole lot in similar to you in 2022. If I did, it was a big card coming across my desk that it was an expensive thing I had to grade, whether it was 2007 or it was now. Like it was an expensive card. It was probably $300 or $150 I had to spend that much to grade it. So I did a bunch of those random here and there when they pop up. Basically only dealt with CGC bulk for the most part because the turnaround times are pretty decent. But just at the very tail end of 2015, I'm taking it back 7 years. Now 2022, the PSA had the $15 special, and I had been waiting and waiting and waiting for them to try to go down to $12 or something. Like I have all these cards for my collection I want to grade, and I don't want to grade it at 19, and I want to grade it less than 15, but then 15 is coming to a close. It's kind of FOMO essentially. Like the 20, I know that it's going away. I know they're probably not going to have it in January because it's going away, and it's not back. It's $19 now. There is no special, so I'm kind of happy.
Is it 19? Some people are saying it's coming up as 18 when they put them in. I don't know what's going on there.
I don't know when in all their displays, like the advertisements, it all says 19. So
right,
I haven't gone to click through and see what it actually does, but yeah, it's expensive. $15 a card is extremely expensive for cards I'm keeping. It was the bill I think was like $7,500 for the cards I sent in. So that's a steep mountain, just big pill to swallow for collectibles. Like that's crazy.
Yes, I just felt that pain. Just got that hit last week. So yeah, definitely a lot of money. Way more easy to stomach than 50, 100, 150, those kind of prices. Like you say, even 300 they were at some point.
Yeah.
But still doesn't feel like bulk price. Still doesn't feel
feels a little chunky.
The first time I submitted bulk, like the next option, like the good, quick, fast option was $20. And that felt like crazy amount. I graded my best set, my best cards, the 2000 Pokemon Pikachu World Collection from the Australian Olympics. I graded that full set at $20 a piece, and if I felt like I was crazy, I was like, I can't believe I'm spending $20 a piece grading these.
Yeah,
and now I mean, $15. I just did over 100 at 15. Like I'm just a completely different planet. But also, we have had inflation. Prices of things have gone up. It's kind of expected in that sense. It just feels like $15 for. I mean, we all know they're spending 20 seconds on a card, if that. I mean, we're not talking about a 20-minute like digital, like let's take pictures and go through, analyze, let's run software, let's look at all these different lights and magnifying glasses. Like that, I would pay $20 for if it was necessary. If I was an art collector and it was like a Da Vinci, I would pay whatever for that kind of treatment. We're looking at someone looking at a card and saying, is it centered and does it have any white spots? That shouldn't be $15. It shouldn't. You're right, it's expensive, but we're doing it because people are paying.
Demand's high. Yep.
And that's the lowest. They got us by the balls. So
yeah, they're printing money without a doubt. What are they? They're getting these slabs from China, probably pennies on the dollar, and then just 20-30 seconds a slab, if that, and lots of money.
Yeah, I know they have a couple of pretty big places. I'm sure their shipping and storage department is ridiculous. It must be absolutely immense. I know they're setting up other offices and they're trying to move some Funko and some other types of grading to other places, but they probably have a pretty strong plan for the years ahead. I'd be very surprised if they don't have a 1 to 5 year plan, whatever it is, of what they're expecting the market, competition, what their marketing is going to do to counteract the competition, that kind of stuff. We're talking about a pretty big business, right? There's a lot of money involved here. He purchased that price, that price that he paid, with the investor money that he raised from his friends. He spent some pretty serious money buying Collectors Universe. So I don't think he's in it just to like smash and grab for a year. I do think he's in it for a longer haul. I don't think we would have seen this many changes in the past year if that wasn't the case too. I'm curious on what CGC are going to do next. I wouldn't say that I'm nervous for them because I think they've done pretty strong with numbers and what they've graded last year, and we'll get into that later. They've done a lot, but I think it's very separate types of clientele that are sending it. I don't see a lot of people that are submitting to both, like for the same reasons. It seems to be like a certain type of people send it to CGC for this reason, a certain type of people send it to PSA for this kind of reason, and I don't know what CGC are going to do because they need to continue to capture market share. With the market declining, they've got to capture market share to keep the same amount of market share. Does that make sense? Like they've got to keep that same that same amount of people to keep going on their changes because they must have ramped up grading in their facilities the past couple of years to cope with their volume because everything went there. So, yeah, I know that was a little bit of a ramble there, but what do you think? Like, what's the plan for them? Like
for CGC, I don't know. It's like I used to cover every time something new would come out for them, what they're doing and what are their changes, and it's kind of, for me, it's kind of dried up on that front. When they dropped Yu-Gi-Oh! And they dropped the pop reports, I was like, what's next? There's not much more they could do outside of changing their prices or stuff like that. So I think the coolest thing that PSA and CGC could do would be drop a really sick app that's really easy and to use to upload stuff. I don't know if PSA has one already for their registry, but I feel like that would be really cool to utilize that for CGC.
PSA actually just made some updates. They have 2 apps. They had one that was a certification number validator. They just changed that into a PSA app. So now it shows you orders when you're logged in. It shows what status they're in, whether they've shipped, shows you the grades after they've shipped, that kind of stuff. There's way more serious integration, a lot more involved in there with your account, not just like their database, not just a database checker anymore. And then they also have the set registry app, which is separate, where it's everything, value wise, your inventory, your pictures, your descriptions, showcases. There's just a million different things in there. You can see what other people are collecting, and you can even leave messages for other people on their collections and stuff. So 2 interlinked, but 2 very different things, and it makes sense why they are separate apps when you go into them and see what they're doing. CGC could do that.
Yeah.
That stuff's got to be expensive though. Like,
Yeah.
we're talking very high level with some pretty serious data queries going on. Like, we need arrays, the databases and the arrays, and just the general work that the developers are going to have to do to build those kind of apps. Top tier. I mean, it's pretty serious stuff. So they're going to have to really want to invest in that if they want to be in that long term. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and I didn't realize that. So just for the people out there, Professor Oak here obviously has registries stuff at PSA. I have zero. I have stuff in a CGC registry, and that was where I put my focus. I don't even know why I do that. I'm so diverse in the different slabs I have, but it was good. I didn't realize that PSA had 2 full functioning apps. That's great. No, I'm definitely going to download the PSA, order one now after
it's
this.
clean. It's really clean. It's pretty recent that they updated it with those changes. I think maybe even within the past couple of weeks. It really has been very recent that they did take it to that next level. But right now, I mean, you don't even need to log on to a website. I mean, you just click a button and you can see where your order's at, all of your past orders. Basically everything's right there, which is it's pretty cool. It's been nice. Obviously, apps for anything is nice, just clicking a button and seeing it. But when it's something that you want to check every day, you all know that feeling of grading and wanting to check stuff every morning or nighttime or whatever. You want to just keep an eye on where it's at, what it's doing. It's right there. So I can't recommend it enough.
Yep. Obviously PSA is doing other types of things, right? So they're continuously changing like the grading they're doing for Pokemon, identifying different errors and stuff like that. Can you talk maybe a little bit about, help me understand these types of new sets they're grading? Is there something you could kind of elaborate on that?
Yeah, I think
that's kind of new to me.
I think a big challenge before we talk about new stuff is a big challenge with a lot of the sports stuff, which some of the sports guys that may be listening will be able to comment on. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but there seems to be a lot of variations of things happening where they're having to distinguish and train and learn to be able to identify, which obviously has to be a challenge. If you have the same card from the same year in the same set with the same person coming in, and there's 15 different variations of it, you got to understand that there's 15. Like, you can't just take it at face value. That obviously has challenges on the identification side, the grading side, slabbing, if there's size changes or whatever, but there's challenges there, but also with like the set registry and the actual sets and things going on, because every time a company makes something new and PSA feels like they have to grade it because that's what people want, they then have to integrate that into their system. And just generally a lot going on, but they're doing it. PSA are doing it. They're pulling stuff in there. They just added, I put a request quite a while back for some new Pikachus to go into the master set of the Pikachu master set collection. They just added like 15. They just added a bunch. It took a little while, slower than they were the last time I did that. But they're doing it. They listen to people and they add what's wanted. So that's pretty cool. What they are doing with new stuff though, they're adding things that are non-TCG. So there's things that are non-sport, non-TCG, old made. I mean, those ridiculous cards that I just submitted and got back. I just got a few more back. They're just basically snap. I don't know what you call it, old media. In England we call it snap, but it's just 2 pictures and you just match them up. I mean, it's a little kids game. Uno. I mean, the grade Uno cards, they'll grade a postcard from the Pokemon Center. Like, there's things that they understand there's a market for so much more than just cards. And they're really willing to listen and do that stuff more than ever. I mean, the new things that I've seen added to registries, the new registries I've seen added, they've put so much effort in the past year, so much effort into that stuff, just listening to the consumer. I think it's something that probably shines brighter than other grading companies in that area, but they have the most resources, probably the most money, the most backing, the most staff, just the most ability to do that. So of course they've got it. If they know there's a need there, they're going to try and fulfill it, and I'm sure they're making plenty of money doing it.
Yeah.
What's also cool is some new TCGs have started doing. They're grading Metazu and Otherverse, and what was the other one? It's like
Cryptid
sorcery, Cryptid. Yeah, some of those Cryptid fours are, oh my god, they're insane, incredible. I mean, some of the Kickstarter type stuff right now, like,
yeah,
gorgeous. There's some gorgeous stuff, and they understand, like, people feel that way about it. They love this stuff. They want to get it in the slab. They want to know it's good. They want to try and make money, or they want to try and preserve it, or have a centerpiece or something. Maybe it's an ego slab, whatever. They get that there's a market for new stuff that they haven't done before, and they've been really willing to pump that stuff too. So that's been pretty cool to see. I've enjoyed looking at those kind of things, and people like, you got Rock Pokemon. So I'm talking about Weiss recently, and some people talking about Retro and DNA. Some other people talking about like Dragon Ball cards and stuff like that. Like, most people on, like, 99% of the US aren't logging into the computer and looking for a graded PSA Dragon Ball card. It's a very niche, small market, but PSA still understand, like, people want that stuff. Like, people literally want it. And Beckett are too. Companies are doing it, and just opening up that ability is nice. I feel like people are being heard, and being satisfied.
Yeah, when I opened a box of Pixar Weiss Schwartz Japanese, like, this past year with the family, that was the only thing I ever ripped with my family. The first box I've ever opened with my daughter, and it was cool. I would love to get, like, the Woody that we first ever opened, just encapsulated. That'd be pretty awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah,
exactly. And they know that is cool, and that you'll enjoy it. They want to be a part of that, and they want their name imprinted on that memory. It's smart business.
Oh yeah, it is.
There's a need for it.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt.
There's a desire. Yeah. Again, CGC, I don't know what's next for them, but shapes of slabs and training on new and different variations and new sets and that kind of stuff, that's probably where they're going to maybe capture market in some sense, I think, if they are going to try. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think the CGC is doing almost every TCG at this point. They do ones that are old, expired. Pretty much they go off the card stock size. So if it matches kind of what they do, then they'll grade it most of the time. So I'm looking forward to some of the pop reports for other things coming out too. That'll be nice, because PSA is all out in the open. So CGC is still kind of tucked away for other TCGs, and I hope maybe in 23 that comes out a little bit more.
The only downside I will say with PSA's pop reports is when you're looking at sets. So say you look at, I'm trying to think of one of the sets. It's like Neo Genesis or something. It's one of the older vintage ones. There's a few of them. They have some other variations of languages.
Yeah, it's all mixed in.
So you can look at, there's this many 10s in this set. There isn't. No, because there's like Portuguese in there, or Spanish, or there's like Korean. There's like a couple of other languages, and you have to like filter them out. So I've known that by manually pulling those numbers and doing it and kind of going through. That stuff needs cleaning up a little bit. They need to differentiate and like square away some of that older bad habits they've got of adding stuff in the wrong place and then never corrected. There are definitely some things where I think CGC's pod report seems much cleaner and clearer and a little more like, because it's brand new. I mean, they've built it after they already know what needs to be done instead of doing it as they're doing it. I mean, PSA was literally building it as they were building slabs and like figuring out the market and what's happening. So it's hard to fault them for it, but just two different completely places when it was built. So
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with that. It's exciting though. It is a big year ahead. If we think how much change happened with grading companies last year, I mean, this year's got to be a crazy one. I don't know what to expect, but I'm excited to hear.
You think we're going to see $10 for a slab 2023? CGC or PSA?
I tend to agree more with people that have touched on like the $12 special type. I think 15 will probably end up being the standard. They did seem to have success with it. I mean, mine took 10 weeks at 15. So they obviously still have a lot of demand there. There's still a lot of people sending in. I think 15 will probably the new standard value bulk, whatever you want to call it. And maybe a quarterly special at $12 by the end of the year, something like that. Probably feeling a little conservative with that. I don't see $10 this year. I don't know.
Did CGC first introduce the $15 standard when the national happened?
Yeah, I think it was 15, and then if you wanted to add the subgrades, it was another 15. So it was 15 without the subgrades when they did it back then.
For CGC.
CGC before PSA did it.
Yep, and PSA, I think when the national came out, they did like that whole month special pricing.
The special, yeah.
Before that, though, like the normal price for PSA was, I don't even know, $25, $30 for a long time in the year. So they basically dropped their pants halfway, 2/3 through the year, and we're at $15, $19 per slab. So it's come down so much. I'd be almost shocked that we can't go down another $9. In at least a special, it'd be like a Christmas special 2023. If that thing is not really close to $10, I'd almost be shocked. Like $12, it'd be almost guaranteed at this point at the rate we're going.
Isn't it crazy that I submitted the old maid cards at 30?
Damn.
And still made a profit. I mean, it's just like
in early.
I don't know if you're selling. I don't know how much the price matters because the market often, I'm not going to say always and it's exact, but often does have some correlation with the price of the grading. So PC is what the problem is. The thing for PSA is a lot of people submit to them for the personal collection. A lot, especially sports people that are trying to fill in cheaper, more simple cards for their sets when they're trying to build sets out. Sports people love set registry. They love sets. They love getting the full collection going. They love the bragging rights of it because it's fun. There's like competition there. Sports people are competitive. You know that. So I think they're going to have to bring it down for them. And I think that's why there's a big push on the collector's membership. I think that's them saying, are you serious about collecting and grading? If you are, press this button and pay this fee, and then we'll satisfy your needs. This is what we'll do for you. I think there's going to be a bigger push towards that. People have talked before about like set registry pricing, like a different price for people that have a certain amount of cards in the registry. Maybe only people with 50 plus cards in the registry would have a certain price. I think the tricky part with that is you can throw any old certification number from eBay into your registry. Like for those that haven't done set registry before, you don't need to have the card to put it into your registry. You can just use that number. And then if someone else says, oh, wait, that's my slab, what are you doing? I'm trying to use it in the registry. They can send a picture of them with a date stamp on it and their face, basically a selfie with it, and just say, hey, it's like mine. I have this. So that makes it a little tricky to like do pricing because there would just be a lot of fraud and nefarious activity with it. So I don't know with there being money involved, in terms of the pricing. I don't know how realistic that is, but I do think there's going to be more options available probably for collectors because they know they're the people that they need to target for volume. Maybe not big cards. You don't have collectors submitting a whole lot of first edition base Charizards, that kind of stuff. But yeah, volume wise, they're going to need that going forward. So what do you think? Like, do you see CGC doing that kind of stuff, like trying to appeal more to collectors and opening stuff up? I don't know.
I think CGC is doing pretty good, further than Beckett. I feel like CGC's good focus. I think getting rid of the subgrades was good. In that sense, just makes it easier to set, collect, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just because then all the labels are matching, you can go just for 9s, and you don't have the 9 with 3 9.5s or 2 9.5s, whatever. It gets really messy when you introduce subgrades. I get what Beckett does. I respect everything they have going on, but for collectors, I don't know. I think it's going to be just a development over time, but I don't know. I think I like what they're doing right now, and they got their like everybody says, they have their plays for collectors and for flipping certain things or something that's going to be good to play at CGC. If it's not going to get a 10, it's not going to get a 10. I respect them. I collect CGC slabs on top of PSA slabs, in addition to, I should say, but I'm happy with it, the way they're sitting.
I like the slab too.
Yeah, my favorite part is just all the words are on the slab. That's always been my biggest hiccup for PSA. Like some of these Yu-Gi-Oh names, forget about it. Like they're just insanely long. They abbreviate everything.
Yeah, I've bought a couple of Pikachus. I don't think I have any handy, but I've bought a couple where I don't know what the card is when you look at the label.
Yeah.
Like I know what the card is, but if I was just to look at the label, like it's not even words. It's just abbreviation, like kind of smushed in words with some dots and hyphens, and it just doesn't make much sense. That's tricky. There's no flexibility with like font or shaping or movement there, where I mean, like CGC, like they'll make it work. They'll make it happen and label what it is. Like that's what they should be doing. That's what the label's for. So I do really like that. I like the look of the plastic. I like that it's clear and sharp. It looks real sharp and clean, and yeah, I like it. So they've definitely got a strong. That's got to have a huge impact too. I mean, the slab feeling cheap or crappy or easy to break or something, I think they probably wouldn't have done as well if they have. They do have a strong slab. That does have to give them some bonus points for sure.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I made a note of a couple of big sales here that I thought were interesting. And CGC wasn't in the top 3 that I put. I just put a couple of cards. I know you like SGC, right? I know you've touched on them a couple of times.
Yeah, I got a handful of their slabs. Yeah,
I like the tuxedo look. I like that black look. I think there's definitely a few cards I could see the Giratina or that looking really clean. The darker ones with pops of color in the card with a black background. Oh, I think that look brilliant. So yeah, I mean the SGC, and I noted the Mickey Mantle card selling for over $10 million. It was like 12.6. That's crazy.
That was nuts, man.
That really put them on the map, and I think people realized like this is serious. Like we're talking, that was really serious money. That was more money than most people could ever even think about. Like just absolutely crazy for a piece of cardboard and plastic that means so much. There's so much in that slab, that not just the grading company or the grade or the card within it and the history and the story, but there's just so much emotional connection for that person to pay that kind of money. I mean, it's insane. And then you've got PSA, obviously, with selling first to Charizard's high, and Logan Paul paying over $5 million for the illustrator. Craziness.
Yeah, it's crazy. The I think the Illustrator was awesome. Just to have that be almost half of that Mickey Mantle was just it was good for the community. I had talked about it, or somebody just talked about it also on their channel, but I think seeing these extremely high sales for these trophy cards is just nothing but good things for the hobby, especially for the people that are in it deep, like grading cards, selling cards. It is getting headlines is what's going to help drive the this whole market and industry into the next level. And I thought it was just a random interesting fact. I think the two highest selling graded cards were both graded by CGC or SGC. It was the Mickey Mantle, and I think it was like 7-ish million, 6.5 million for a Honus Wagner.
Yeah.
So that
I think the third was too, right? Wasn't the third another Honus from them?
It might have been probably. It's so that's a huge thing. Obviously, SGC's been around a long time, longer than CGC. It's a huge sports card company, so they're right there with PSA. They're number 2 probably, or right next to Beckett. They're really close. So there's a lot of crossover there. When sports card people get into trading cards, they like SGC Slabs. It's a legit company, so they can and will buy like popular Pokemon. I'd say I wouldn't be set collecting SGC right now. It would probably be tough to do, but I do respect the company, the slab. I wish it was a little bit smaller, but it looks beautiful.
Yeah, I do like the look. I really liked that they did a video going through their rooms and their staff, and it felt real. I like their transparency and openness. I'm very transparent at work with my team. The people that I manage and other departments and stuff. I really try to be clear and open and transparent about everything and in communication. So I really liked that they were like that in that video that they did, that little tour of their office and talking about the graders and just the different processes. I got a lot of respect from that. That was pretty cool. That was a while back now, but yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not surprised with it being such a big sports company, sports grading company, that those would be the highest. But you would automatically think PSA being the highest because they're the professional sports authenticator. However, I know PSA 10s aren't the strictest on Gem Mint, and I think people are starting to realize a 10 isn't always a 10 with other places, especially like CGC. You saw my video the other day of me optimizing, sending some slabs over. Like all 10s aren't the same, all 9s aren't the same. There's just different things. So seeing SGC 10 taken so seriously for me says if I have a big sports card, I mean, I'd send it to SGC tomorrow. Like that, just because of those sales. Like that's probably where I would send it. Like I'd take them way more serious now for sports than PSA, Beckett, CGC, just because of those sales. If I had something big and special.
Yeah, maybe it says something also about SGC collectors. Maybe they're just dirty flippers, and the PSA guys are just the ones not selling the cards. Because I'm pretty sure the Mickey Mantle, I think, was a SGC 9.5, and the $12.6 million card, and the 10s, I believe, exist in PSA slabs. Those guys aren't selling. So I'll be really curious to see when one of those sells. A Gretzky rookie PSA 10 sells. I want to see some of those sales next year. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. But, I mean, some of it also, I guess sometimes you got to take some sales with a pinch of salt of like, was it a sale? Was it paid? Yeah. There are questions. Was the people involved with it shady? I mean, we've heard things about PWCC before and, some other sellers and people getting banned on eBay and stuff. Like, you just don't know. But it's cool. I mean, that's serious money, even to just play around with. That's serious money. So,
yeah. Take it real quick. Take it back to 2022 again. Kind of the Millennium Print Group was purchased, obviously, by Pokemon. They were trying to build up as much as they can, building as much product as they can, and they did it for the most part. And coming now towards the end of the year, it seems like they've fallen off the wagon a little bit. I don't know. We're still in a limbo period. Obviously, the print numbers, they're able to keep up for most of the year. No issues. And now we're transferring to this new set. We have silver borders. What do you think's going on, man?
I mean, what are they printing right now? Because I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure we could get some of these, maybe get Mason or someone in to chime in the comments a little bit. But like, I don't think there's much being printed and coming out right now. I don't know what it is. It seems to me like maybe they're printing these future sets for this year, 2023, and holding them ready for release so they can have one huge, massive wave right out of the gate and really full supply. But I don't know. The purchase of Millennium Print Group, I don't think I realized, in all honesty, I don't think I realized how big of a printer that company was and how important they were to Pokemon to buy them. Because I think if they were smaller, they would have just set up their own printing company and bought machines and done it and just kind of gone full force with their own thing. But for them to buy a company, Millennium must have been a pretty big setup, like pretty well established, huge setup, which I didn't realize it was that size. So I'm confident that this year they're going to knock out some pretty good numbers because I know they will have invested some money into it. They're not just going to purchase and move on, fire a couple of managers and, trim some fat. They've probably gone pretty hot and heavy into it, knowing with demand being so high the past couple of years and so many new products they need to get out. Because it's not just cards. I mean, we've got weird promos and jumbos and figurines. There's like a million things, and a lot of those card factories where they're being printed, they're also building the components of boxes. They're also putting stuff together. So, yeah, there's just a lot going on there. I really think they've probably put a lot of effort in, and I think that's where the time and effort that we're not seeing right now, I think that's where it's going. I think it's going to be a really good year. I feel optimistic about it. But what about you? What do you think on it?
I think it's a crap show right now. I think everybody's, I don't know, maybe they're all picket lines out in front of the building, striking. It isn't making headlines. I don't know, but it's crazy times right now with what's going on. And I see Rudy Alpha Investments every week now. He's got like 2 Pokemon videos. It's like all his rage. With the prices of the booster boxes going so high for such modern sets. It's got him excited because Magic of where it's at, what they're doing with that TCG. I'm excited that they made the purchase. They have Millennium Print Group. I'm glad it is only good things coming from that. Maybe the print quality will get better in 2023, but I doubt it. Silver borders won't fix the whitening on the blue borders on the back, unfortunately. So that's gonna still happen. What do you think about?
Did they confirm it's staying as the same bag?
No, but it would be insane if they made that change without even telling anybody. That'd be insane.
I know some people have had Crown Zenith opened.
Oh yeah. So it's
this week. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen
Crown
the bag.
Zenith is yellow bordered. It's Scarlet and Violet that's getting silver borders.
So we don't even know.
Yeah.
They haven't made that change yet.
Yeah, do you think there's a chance they printed more than 9.1 billion like they did in 2021? Pokemon?
So yeah, Crown Zenith special sets this year. We had Stars, Astral. I mean,
2021 was coming off of the hype. Like that was coming right off the tails of the Logan Paul hype, but also towards the end of that year was coming down. I feel like so 2022 has been it's been interesting. It's been resilient to say the least.
I think over 10. I think more.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not saying that they have distributed over 10, but I think they've made over 10.
Yeah.
There was a lot of products through the year, not just in terms of sets and special sets. I did actually pull a couple of numbers here. So we had 4 Sword and Shield sets came out, the 1 specialty set, the Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
McDonald's set, which was Yeah, pretty cool. Trying to think. Yeah, I think over 10 billion.
Yeah, thinking about it, just thinking about like the shelves, the availability, it seems like everything was a little bit more available than the year prior, but man, something about it tells me they printed a lot more for some reason. And just like everything seems to be still kind of in a mania phase. Stuff is still coming off the shelves. The Charizard UPCs are still on some of the shelves, but there's stuff that is not sticking on the shelves. It's pretty wild to see.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too, like the UPC is a product, it's not part of a set, so it's like its own little thing. In terms of set stuff, like when I pulled those numbers for the Full Sun Shield, Pokemon Go, and McDonald's, that kind of stuff. So kind of like set cards, like things that you would want to collect in a binder, without reverses, without variations, that kind of stuff, just the actual cards. It was 1,057 cards to collect in 2022, which is, it's kind of hard to like imagine trying to buying enough packs to get all 1,057 cards that year.
Yeah.
Like the amount of packs that would have taken. But saying that, I know a lot of people tried to. They bought those packs trying to pull those and trying to get that binder themselves instead of jumping on eBay and paying 20 cents for some of them. TCG Play, that kind of stuff. So I really think they sold a lot just because of the big sets that came out, the huge trainer gallery love, the alt art love that they got, but also like just a massive selection of cards, the biggest year ever for cards, for how many there are to collect and chase. 1,057 just from those 6 sets. Insane. I mean, that's ridiculous. Plus, you got reverses. So, yeah, the printing 10 billion seems easy to me with that. What would you estimate if you had to guess?
It was 9.1 billion, right? So it'd be, yeah. Man, I don't know. Just because it was coming off of kind of a low in the beginning of the year, I feel like. But man, I feel like they're still Pokemon. I feel like is the most intelligent company above Wizards of the Coast as far as what to print, how many to print. So I feel like they have such a good sense of the market as far as the quantities they need to make. So it's really tough to tell by looking at availability of products. I'd guess higher than 9.1 billion, but I couldn't put a number on it. I wouldn't put it higher than 10 probably. It's probably right there, maybe right around 9.1 again. Yeah, I could see it being stagnant, the same.
Yeah, I don't think lower. I don't know if they're going to be honest and open and tell us. We'll see in the coming weeks. I mean, we'll see. I don't remember when it was released.
First quarter sometime, I think, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact time, but yeah, maybe they'll tell us. I don't know. It's a cool thought.
Yeah, no, that'll be interesting for sure. Yeah. The graded games, obviously, that whole thing is coming down. I've mentioned it briefly. I wanted to talk about it here a little bit more.
Yep.
So you're not too into it yet. It's going to change. No. But man, let me tell you.
I'm interested. Yeah, I'm interested in it.
Well, it's probably the best time as ever to buy some stuff because like it's nothing like Pokemon. It's nowhere near as resilient as the prices have been. So they've consistently been coming down, I'd say, mostly across the board. There are the really high-end stuff that is kind of staying up there, but it's been interesting to now CGC is in the graded game market and they're being accepted instantly into some of these signature auctions that WADA has basically owned, and it's exciting to see how that'll develop in also with some of this Pokemon stuff. So what is it about it that's kind of interesting you a little bit?
Let me ask you a question before I answer that because it might sway it a little bit. Where do you think is the best place to buy them? Is it eBay? Is it auction houses? Is it private? Or
there's not that many auctions. First, like they say there's a lot of stuff graded, but if you look at the populations on these things, I'm telling you, there's not a lot graded. The most graded PlayStation 2 games are the GTA Trilogy series, and they're not that high a population. They're way less than Moonbryon in total. If you combine all of them, it's less than the Moonbryon was graded. So the most popular video game series of all time, the big trilogy, it's crazy. Like, that's the highest graded thing. So the populations, in my opinion, are low. If you ask somebody else, they might say they're high, but they probably don't deal with TCGs. So me looking at it from a TCG brain, crazy low populations. When I own I own a few Yu-Gi-Oh games that are just like almost top pop. Like, there's a game graded higher than it, and I was just messing around buying some of these games. Like, oh, hey, one's for sale, buy it. So there's obviously a bunch that aren't graded yet, I'd say, but it's cool just how low it is still, like sub 50 for most video games. It's crazy.
I can't believe that there's any sealed. Honestly, I cannot believe that people would buy a video game and then not open it and play it.
Yeah, right.
Like, that just seems so crazy to me.
Few and far between.
Like Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Crystal, like some of these old Pokemon games, like, how the heck did that not get opened and played or sold, gifted, or I don't know. It just seems like my mind was not there at all back in those days. Not even close. Like, preserving it once it's opened, absolutely. My Game Boy was pristine, never got dirty, never scratched the screen. Game was pristine. Seriously, the binder cards were immaculate, straight into binder sleeves, that kind of stuff. Like, I was very particular about that stuff, but oh my god, did I open them? Like, yeah, I needed to get them open, play them, see that stuff. So that's really interesting to me. I think what's really interesting to me about the graded game stuff is, I guess it's kind of counterintuitive, but I have a lot of connection to a lot of like personal connection to a lot of all the games, just like you know, like everyone else. Like Pokemon Yellow, the first Pokemon game I ever played on my yellow Game Boy Color. Like, I mean, literally obsessed. It took over my life. I couldn't think about anything else. I loved that game. It was such a positive influence in my life at that time. I loved it. Crazy, like, you know, such a strong impact on me. Pokemon Crystal, I mean, that next level, gone, like mind blown. And then moving into, you know, PS1 and some of the games there, I have a lot of connection with a lot of games. Like, I could probably name 20 that I played like a lot of hours, a hell of a lot of hours into. And I love the idea of getting that back, not necessarily playing them, but getting that game back, that connection, that attachment, and having it again in a physical form. But I wouldn't be able to play it. I don't have a Game Boy anymore. I don't have a PS1 anymore, that kind of stuff. So graded in good condition, preserved of that memory, kind of makes sense. Like, it kind of is like that connection, like locked in a box safe. I think that's what's kind of interesting to me. Is that kind of like how some other people feel? Like, I don't know if that's just me, or is that like a common theme? Or
yeah, for me, that's exactly why and how I got into it. So pretty much every graded game I own, I'm not flipping these. It's basically games I grew up and played, have the hours and hours and hours of time invested. Even compared to like my Pokemon, like I collect Zapdos cards. These things behind me, way more time with these than any Zapdos card in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane. It's unmatched. So this is going to be cool just to be like, hey, they're a little Jim. Like, when my grandkids come over, like, just telling them about this Super Mario 3 game. Like, Grandpa, you're a crazy old bastard. Like, so it'll be cool to have that. But yeah, it's the same sentiment for most collectors in the video game space. It's getting that they're great display pieces, not here to shill video games, but I don't have a lot of cards because they're too small for the most part. So having these are really nice. Similar to comic books, I don't have any yet, looking forward maybe in 2023, but they display really nice. Yeah, I love the nostalgia. It brings me back to a time similar to Pokemon where I was having a great time with my video game. So it's awesome.
What would you say CGC are going to do with that? Do you think they're going to push it hard, or is it just going to be like an extra little thing that they do?
CGC is going to, just like TCGs, they're going to be number 2 really quick. WADA, it will be like number 1 for the most of the time. They've been here for a few years. So WADA will be holding strong for a little while, but CGC, they look great. It's going to be some stiff competition. I'm looking forward. Competition's amazing.
VGA were the forefront, right? They're the guys that got it going and rock and roll, and they were like the prim and proper, like, let's grade them and do it right and clean and clear. They just
started in 08. I think 08 they started.
Just no marketing, right? They didn't have any like modern approach to the business, I guess.
Yeah, they must not have had a really good sales guy pumping these auction houses to do video games. WADA obviously did it. Big controversy there. The guy Dennis Kahn going to pawn cars and pumping up his own prices and stuff like that. So, but I mean, if I had a business, I would be doing the same thing. I'd be doing everything I can to get this thing headlines and get the things moving. And look where it is now. It's number 1. So, number 1 grading company for video games. So I think CGC's got CGC umbrella under it. The comic books, everything, like you got the comic collectors, you got all of those people that have graded comics. CGC is number 1 for graded comics. So many millions of dollars are in comics. Those people will like video games, some of them, and they want the same colored slab or something like that because those people exist. They're gonna do well, extremely well.
Yeah, it's exciting. I would buy one if I could get one at a decent price. You know, one of the games that I liked. I don't know how much I care about grade. I'm not getting a nice grade. You know, minty-ish. But yeah, I love it. I think it's a cool topic. I'm glad we touched on it. Do you want to go over some of these graded card numbers?
Yeah, send it off. Start us off, man.
For 2022. I know we didn't want to go too long with this, but so, guys, I pulled some stats from Gem Rate. You guys have heard of Gem Rate before. He has been putting a lot of effort into kind of getting his software up and running and pulling the numbers of what the grading companies have been doing. So let's dig into a couple of the main graders of what they've done in 2022. You know, we're trying to wrap up the year in this first episode. PSA, they did 11.2 million cards in 2022. That is 1 in every 35 people in America, essentially, somewhere around that, have a PSA graded card, if you want to average it out, which seems probably like more people on average last year purchased a PSA card than probably purchased a coffee machine, which just seems nuts to me. I don't know.
Yeah. Just for putting it in perspective, it's 215,000 graded cards a week. Damn.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a city's worth of people having a card each every single week. Insane. Absolutely crazy. So out of that 11.2 million, 3.7 million were in TCG and non-sport. So anything basically that was not sport. Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, you know, all the crazy little card games that we've got going on that are non-sport stuff.
Yeah.
Postcards, you know, that kind of stuff. That's a lot, 3.7 million, which is, I mean, what's that, like a little over 30% of their output for the professional sports authenticator was non-sport, which I thought was a really, really big market share of someone that didn't build their foundation on. They've just developed into it, grown with what's needed, right? Like there's
Professional
obviously
sports authenticators. Yeah.
clearly a need for non-sport. They
Yeah.
grabbed it, they exposed the fact that that was needed and ran with it. So I love that. I think that's really smart business. The fact that they've captured so much market share for something that they didn't even have the intention initially of jumping on.
Yeah.
Really cool development of a company. CGC in total, they obviously are non-sport. CSG does their sports, but CGC did 775,000 cards, basically a little over 750,000 cards.
Yep. And
Which
CGC, yeah, real quick, CGC's just doing trading cards. That's like you said, they're not doing the sports cards. So if you look at CGC as a company, compare it to PSA, in the matter of almost 4 weeks, PSA graded more total cards than CGC did in their entire year. 11.2 million in a year versus CGC 775K, that's insane. And seeing that, I didn't see that number until before we got on this call. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's nuts. A lot of growth, though. I gotta say, almost 1 million cards for a company that, I mean, you said it's like 3 years old. Like it's
2.5 years old. It's about 3 million cards graded, I think, total. Yep. So they're turning on the burners.
Huge numbers. The ramp up, the effort they've put into ramping up their business far exceeded any other company, from what I'm aware of, and still having I know they had a little portion of time where their turnaround did dip, they did suffer initially, but they really got steam and got going and realized, hey, we got to make this happen, and they did. That was really cool to see. So they had a pretty strong year. This year they're just going to be on fire. I mean, they're just going to be knocking slabs out like nothing. It's going to be baseball at the stadium every hit. So yeah, that's going to be cool to see. CSG, which obviously is pure sport, on their flip side of the cards, jumping into cards, they did almost the same in that, 635, so 2/3 almost in cards for sports. So that, I thought that was a pretty cool stat to look at also.
Yeah, I thought it was high. I thought that was a pretty high number for what I think is like the fourth grading company for sports behind PSA, Beckett, SGC, CSG is literally number 4. So them to be able to do 635 is pretty crazy. I think it probably attributes to Beckett being closed a lot of 2022 and not really taking anything besides expensive cards. But it'll be interesting to see how that develops next year with Beckett now kind of having more doors open.
I didn't know that they were doing that many. I didn't know they were doing almost as many as CGC. Non-sport.
Yeah, and CSG is the company also that had the big label change. They went from green labels and completely changed them to black. Completely eliminated subgrades outside of a card that gets a 10. That was pretty crazy. That all happened this year. They accepted, you had to resubmit cards. You could resubmit your 9.5s. They turned them into 10s. So I bought a handful of 9.5 old slabs and converted them. It was pretty sick.
Yeah, I remember that. I actually remember the exact part of the road I was driving down when I was listening to you when you were talking about that. This really stands out to me because I remember thinking what? That would just seem so crazy to me that they changed their own grading scale.
Yeah.
And slab and were send it to us. We'll figure it out kind of thing.
Yep.
I distinctly remember you talking on that and thinking just how crazy that was. That was just nuts to me. But yeah, we'll see how that affects the numbers when we do this again next year, 2024, I guess, for 2023 numbers. SGC, they knocked out in total 988,000, so basically 1 million cards. Only 68 in TCG and non-sport. So over 90% are sports. A huge disparity between PSA and CGC and Beckett there, which we're going to get into next. But definitely sports. SGC is definitely the place to go for sports, it seems like. Which does make you question, is there maybe some cheap plays for Kraken a resub to PSA with some of the SGC tuxedo, Pikachu's, whatever, some of the Pokemon cards, some of the other, I don't know what TCGs they're selling. I haven't seen a lot of other, seen a couple of random stuff, but nothing too crazy. So, I mean, do you see that being a play possibly? Have you seen much in that field?
No, I think SGC is really tight on sports card grading. I think they're a lot looser on Pokemon. So I don't think it's a good play to go from SGC to PSA personally for Pokemon. Sports cards, maybe I've never dove into it yet, but I got burned on SGC sports card submission, and they're definitely tough graders there compared to Pokemon. So, but yeah, seeing only 68,000 non-sports cards graded there, it's definitely very immature in their growing, but I don't know how much they're going to grow next year with Beckett turning back on, kind of, and CGC and PSA doing what they're doing. So,
I mean, do they want it to, like, you would think that's an extra arm where they could make a little bit of side hustle money, it seems like. Doesn't seem like they're pushing it. Like, it's not obviously a big part of their marketing. That could be a lot bigger. Being less than 10% of their work output is low. That's a very low number for a product. So, yeah, we'll see. I did see, speaking on what you just told, Tom, with the SGC to PSA Kraken resub, I saw a couple of Pikachus I was looking at a few months back, and one was damaged, had white spots on it, and it was a 10 in SGC, and one was an SGC and it was off center in a 10. And I stopped looking as soon as I saw those two. I was like, okay, I don't know if this is going to work. So I was like, yeah, I'm just going to waste my time with this.
Yeah.
Not saying I won't look again. So guys, if anyone else is doing that play, like, go for it. Like, I'm sure there's some cards out there that's a possibility, but the price would have to be pretty low to take that risk, I think, with some of the grades that I've seen anyway.
Yeah, 100%.
Beckett, 750,000 cards they knocked out last year, and 250,000. So a third of what they did was TCG and non-sport, which I thought was brilliant. I was really surprised that it was, on the flip side from SGC. Like, I thought Beckett was really heavily into sport. I thought they were going to be a much bigger chunk was going to be sport. And yeah, only, basically 2/3 of what they did was sport, and a third of it was TCG and non-sport. So I know they've got some wacky cards and sets that they will accept, some way before, PSA. Some of the stuff that I've seen, like Dragon Ball or whatever, and Uno, Poker, some of these weird, like,
Dragon Ball.
Yeah, some of that stuff. So I think they recognize, like, hey, it's a card. If we can get a copy of it, then we can authenticate it, because we just compare it against each other. That's simple enough. And we can make it fit in a slab. We'll just make it work. Chuck it in a sleeve thing and boom, sonic seal it. And they've been doing it and running with it. I think they have really solid numbers. I was impressed by the numbers by Beckett, actually, probably more so than any of the others. I thought that was pretty solid, because especially, like you said, they had some bumps with being closed. Website's not fantastic. Before it was like a weird form. You had to manually do it, like, not optimized for big numbers. And they did almost, 750,000 cards. That's a lot of effort. Those guys put a lot of effort in to that old school process, for sure.
A lot of people chasing those black labels, man. A lot of them.
It has to be it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be a massive chunk of what they did. That's a very desirable product. Looks cool. It feels good. That's a really cool piece in your collection, firsthand. Like, freaking awesome to have a black label. Like, I would love one. It'd be amazing. So.
Oh yeah. No, it's awesome stuff, man. The numbers shown there are just crazy. And we look forward to kind of doing this maybe on a monthly basis, kind of doing an update where people are standing, how many cards have been graded, to get you guys informed and keep you in the know.
Yeah, I'll continue to pull some moves for us, and we can chat about it regularly. Kind of keep on top of stuff, see what companies are doing. Yeah, I would imagine most of them are going to be open now. Full open door policy. I don't think anyone's shutting down to make changes or cope with bumps. I don't think we're expecting any kind of crazy spike or hype this year for anything that's going to have the same effect that we had, in the times that we do not speak of back in the day. But moving on from that, let's wrap up with the next episode. So that'll be dropping next Tuesday. In honor of the Spicy Boys, the final segment, getting spicy with it. So that sounds hilarious in my accent. We want you guys to drop in the comments of this video. Go ahead and drop a topic or a question, a comment, whatever, something that you would like to propose as fodder for next week's discussion.
Drama, anything.
Oh, drama. we all getting Spicy Boys now.
Yep.
Yeah, get it in there. What we'll do is whoever has the most upvoted comment, whatever it is that you throw in there, we'll probably run with that with the forefront of it. We may pick a couple of others that we liked. We'll see what happens, but we want to know what you guys want to hear and what you guys want to talk about, so we can have a little section there. So it's not just us. We want you guys involved and a part of this just as much with us. So get that in there. I'm going to give you my suggestion. I'm not sure if you have one yet, Josh, but I've got one. I'll say it now before I put it in the comments. Are PSA 10s toxic? Are they something that are viewed as egotistical, maybe a money grab, any kind of negativity around it? Is that true, or is it just clean? I want to have the best card there is, and it's that simple. I'm interested. So if you guys like that one, vote my comment on that. I have seen on Facebook and some other groups people buying PSA 7s and CGC 6s and some crazy grades of stuff purely because they love the card and they want it in a slab and they think it's cool to have it authenticated. And it's definitely humbling, making you think, is it okay to collect PSA 10s? So that was my one.
I'll give you mine. Mine are not graded cards, but signed cards. Signed trading cards are bags. Leave you on that note.
Spicy. Cool. All right, let's wrap it up. Josh, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be doing this with you. This has been awesome. I've enjoyed it. We've going over 22 with you. It was a big year. A lot happened in the industry, in the market, and all the different companies involved with the hobby, and also for you. I mean, you got monetized. You had a fantastic year. It appeared in a lot of videos. Your interview podcast has gone well. I mean, it's been brilliant watching you develop and grow and having so much success. So I've really enjoyed it. I'm excited to carry this on every single week. Hope every one of you guys at home, work, car, wherever you are right now listening, that you've enjoyed it and you're in support too. So hopefully you can hit the subscribe button and that notification bell. But Josh, over to you.
Yeah, man, nothing much. Appreciate you guys joining in. Podcast, everything. The Discord link down below in the description. Go check it out. It's going to be awesome. Look forward to see you guys next week. Have a good one.
See you guys.
Peace.